to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
With the racism stigma on the Republican Party, where it could be, where an indication that the issue could actually be bigger than I think it is to me it seems like a simple fix, right? It's like get more people, get more diversity in the Republican Party's leadership. Talk more about those types of things. Talk more about racial justice, social justice, those types of things. However, maybe they're not talking about it because, or not getting more people of diversity into leadership because they know it would estrange or kind of push away some of their votes. And if that's true, then now we do have a big problem.
We have a big problem.
Because it shouldn't be that. I was thinking more in terms of like, well, this is a simple fix. Just get more diversity in leadership, talk more about these things. However, if by doing that they're estranging some of their votes, then that's
what are those people
going
to do? Vote for the Democrats, please? Okay, so they don't have to worry about that. Really,
that's a very good point.
What we need to do is have a little bit of faith in people and play to their highest character and not their lowest. I think that's, we need to have some trust and say, look, I think Republicans, and I think all political leaders should do this. We need to go back to a little bit of a JFK thing, like ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I mean, the Democrats could use that. But we all should be doing that. The political leaders should be saying to people, like, you know what? We are going to have to work. Okay. We all need to be better people. We need to, I want you to keep your job, but we're going to have to make some changes in order to fix the, and also like, hey, things have been unfair for people. We want to make it better, but in a sustainable way. So yeah, we're going to fund the HBCUs, but also we need to figure out how to get some better pre-K for people. We need to fix education. Yes. Well, we need to tell people like, hey, life is also hard work, and you need to, I think there's not enough personal responsibility preached on the right anymore either. The right wants to tell the left that there's no personal responsibility, but it's like, well, I'm not hearing that. But leaders should be inspiring us to be our best selves. And so, yeah, it should be really like overt. It should be really like direct, saying to people like, hey, there's no place for racism in the Republican Party. Yes. Guys, we are all Americans together, and we want this tent wide. And anyone who wants to be on this team who believes in hard work, who believes in that tradition has a lot there for us, that when we talk, and first of all, we need to go back to saving the earth. That was a whole campaign that got derailed. But yeah, that we should be treating each other well. I lost my point because I got distracted about the environment and how pissed off I am.
Well, okay, so but let's talk about the environment. So why does it seem like the Republican Party has such a problem with saving the earth? It's like, this is basic, guys. We're like, okay, if you just go back in time, the industrialist society was not always here, right? And then we got all this stuff, and we had these factories, and we made all of these things. But we are on this earth, and there is like only so many resources here. Let's take care of this as we go. Why does it seem to be cool on the right to sort of not care about the environment, not care about the earth? I don't fully understand that. It's sort of like a signaling. It's sort of like, oh, so pro-business that we don't care, like business at the expense of all else. I'm not entirely sure what it is.
A few factors. So there was a big push. At some point, there was this dude who was like evangelical, and he was like, guys, I mean, it says here we're stewards of the earth. This should be our real thing. We should be the ones who are environmentally conscious and care about this. Like, that's the right thing to do. This is God's planet. I can't remember how, but they basically canceled him. Somebody, I think there was Big Business. He did like a magazine cover where they convinced him to like look like he was walking on water, and then they ran these headlines that were like, oh, look at this guy thinks he's Jesus, and like basically because of this one guy who had really built up the evangelicals to start caring about the earth, then they canceled him, and then the whole thing fell apart, and they've been like anti ever since. There were some powers that the money was going to be taken from them if Republicans were all wanting to care about the earth. So people have just been manipulated. It's really sad. It's really disgusting. Evangelical. But a lot of people, I mean, I'm even growing up Mormon. I mean, there was some idea that, well, the rapture / second coming or whatever is about to come.
Yes, I think that's totally part of what it is.
Well, it makes people,
with some of it anyway.
Even if they wouldn't tell you that or don't fully consciously subscribe to the like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to litter and who cares? It's not like that. It's just more like, it's just enough in the back of their heads to be like, yeah, but it doesn't really matter because eventually Jesus is coming. coming back.
Yeah, maybe
That blows.
that's an underlying issue with the conservative right in that regards. I don't know. By the way, I don't know that much about global warming, so I don't really know. I know there's some questions on, like, there's some different viewpoints on, like, how much are we actually contributing there or not. I mean, it would seem to me we're probably contributing a little bit if you just look at these factories that we put up and see the results.
Well,
of
it's
some
also
of this.
just like
But I don't
overfishing.
know.
I mean, forget global warming.
Exactly.
You know, like we aren't going to have
Overhunting
any
in
fish.
Africa.
Yeah, there's stuff there's resources. Animals are extinct and going more and more extinct all the time, and water is going to be a big issue. It already is. There's already people, not being able to have as much water they want in California and in Arizona. I mean, Arizona has sold some land to Saudi Arabia, which they use to grow hay, so that they can take it back to Saudi Arabia, right? Well, so the farmers in Arizona around them no longer have enough water because the Saudi Arabians just come in and drill deeper. So you could just keep going deeper and get all the water. So even if you're not on their land, you just go lower. You just keep going. That's all yours. So the wealthier you are, the farther you can afford to dig.
This is happening in Arizona now?
It happened years ago because the short-term thinking people in Arizona needed the money. And so they sold out, and the farmers all came and said, please don't let them. They'll just dig deeper and we won't have any water. And sure enough, that's what happened. But that's the kind of thing we're already doing. And so water is just a big one. The factory farming that we're doing, we're stripping the land of any of the topsoil. And so the water runs right off into the ocean again. This could all be fixed if all of the farms in America had an inch of topsoil. Something Joel Salatin said, I think. So it's like we have to be doing sustainable things, but we all need to learn to live in harmony with each other and the world. Like that should be our goal, is to figure out how to do this sustainably. Like I want to eat meat too, but we need to figure out how to either grow the vegan meat, I guess, or have something where we go, okay, guys, you can't eat meat 3 meals a day. Okay. Some of you are morbidly obese and shouldn't be eating most of what you're eating. Yeah. We work on that. You know what I mean? We all going to have to live. And by the way, we got to talk about.
Definitely get you votes.
Yeah, tell Republican. Well, that's part of it, though. Like, okay, you want to talk about morality? Yes, it is it's morally better to be in shape so that you're not going to cost as much, so that you don't need to eat as much food, so you're not farting as much as so that you're not costing the community healthcare. It's very expensive to deal with all this shit. It would be better, and you can contribute more to the group if you are healthy. So when people, I'm not hurting anybody. Yeah, but you're doing more harm and less good than you could be doing.
Yeah, it's true. All right, so can I just say I'm a little bit surprised by where you stand politically. I mean, I don't know that we differ at all.
Most people don't. Nobody disagrees with me. Everything I say, it's like everyone's like, yeah, that's what we all think.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
and I'm like, look, so let's figure where we are the majority. This is what we all kind of generally. I mean, we might have a little bit of a disagreement about this, that, or the other, but mostly we all have kind of the same vision. But the people who are in the social media and the corporate media are putting these two narratives out.
Okay.
We all hate those people.
Yep.
And we have to take our country back.
So do you think that we can take it back with a third party, or do you think we need to go take over the best remaining party, which you're thinking it needs to be Republican, and go in and change it?
I was thinking third party for a while, but dude, they have ways to kill it. It always dies. It just doesn't work. And I think that our best bet is the Republicans, because the Democrats are too splintered. They're the infighting. They will tear each other down. You can't, you wouldn't be able to, they'll just cancel you. But that's not what happens on the Team Red. And again, I think people will respond to truth. So I think that we just have to figure out how to elevate these messages, because this is where most people are. When you talk to people one-on-one, most people are pretty much like this, where, even with just take trans shit, it's just this simple. Okay, let's just all be kind to everybody, but we're going to have to talk about sports. We're going to have to talk about children, that's where everybody's at.
Sure. Okay.
So none of the stuff that divides people, it's like, no, it divides people online. It divides people if they're only listening, they're watching these news programs. But even the people who, when you watch that, when you go talk to them, it's like everyone's reasonable. We all just want to get along and figure out how we can have good lives together.